In this video, we are going to see in detail about exception handling using some basic example. For explaining purpose, I have selected a table named students. Okay, you can look through the content in the table. Like I have 4 roll numbers here. Roll number, name, class, and year are the columns that is present in this table. So I have roll number as varchar, where U9CS31301, and that way it is going on roll number. So I'm putting a basic structure of PLSQL, which is declare, begin, and end. Let me start with some variable name, say A. I'm going to put as a varchar because I'm going to get the roll number. So roll number size is like around 7, so I'm going to put it as 8. Okay. So the inside begin, I'm going to get the input. We already discussed in another video how we can get the input. So I'm going to get the input, which is A colon is equal to, we have to keep a colon and roll number. Roll number is like an identifier of that variable. Then I'm going to get the input. Before that, like I'm going to create an exception variable. Let me say it as the exception, exp exception. What I'm going to do is, like when I'm getting an input, if I didn't give any values, supposedly say if A is null, that is what I'm meaning. Like I'm not going to give any input, which means that A is null. I'm going to raise an exception, which is I have declared already, raise exp. So I'm going to put endif, and then I'm going to create an exception quantifier. Like we have declare begin, which is like a basic syntax for PLSQL. Declare mean where I'm going to put the variables, and begin where I'm going to put the body of that PLSQL. In exception, I'm going to write the exception statements, which is thrown from the begin. So here I'm going to catch the exception, like when exp is thrown, then I'm going to print something like should not be null. In that way, you should give a number, or you can print like should not be null. Anything is okay. Okay, so I have declared a variable which is A and varchar 2 of 8, and then I got an input for that variable, which is A equal to roll number, and then I have checked if A is null. I am going to raise an exception, which is when exp, I'm going to put a statement into the dbms underscore output, and then I created the exception. Okay, where I have printed this. Now we can check. I am not going to give any input here, so I'm just submitting. Okay, there is an error on that. Okay, I didn't leave any space there in endif. That is the error it is throwing. So I'm going to leave some space in end, and if I'm going to run it again. So now I am submitting again without giving an input. So you can see here that it is thrown as should not be null, which I have printed here. I didn't give an input for A, so it is null actually. So it is throwing some output which is should not be null. Now, okay, there is some issue with this compiler. I'll simply leave some space and run again. That's it. So now I'm going to give some input. You can see that it is not returning should not be null because I passed some input there in the input screen. So it is clear that we are getting that in exception, which is null. When A is not given any value, we got that exception correctly. Now I'm going to declare 2 variables. So what I'm going to do is, like I'm going to select roll number and name from the table, and I'm going to print it. So for that, I'm going to get the value of roll number in A and going to pass it in select query, and I'm going to fetch the detail. So let us declare some variable roll and name, which is like of varchar. Like as I told previously, the table is contained roll number name, which is of a data type varchar. So I'm creating 2 variables, which is roll number and name of data type varchar. So I'm going to write an else condition. If I'm going to get some input in A, I'm going to pass it into a select query. So what will be the select query is select roll number, which is what the field is, comma name from the table. Okay, so into this variable, so this is the thing we have to look into. Select roll number comma name into the variable that I have created, roll comma name that I have created here. Roll number and name is belong to the table, and this roll and name is belong to the variable name that I have created. So from the table student. So that is what I shown earlier. Okay, so now I am getting the roll number and name into this roll and name of the variable from the table student. So I am going to write a where condition. If you leave it like this, like it will generate more number of rows. So we should include where, otherwise it will generate an error saying that you are fetching more number of rows in that way. So you have to fetch a specific row. So I am going to put where roll number is equal to A is an input that I am getting. So I'm going to pass A into this condition where roll number is equal to A. In A, I'm going to get a roll number as an input. So now I'm going to print dbms output dot put underscore line, which is like I'm going to print the roll number and name that we got from the select query. So simply any data here inside the single quotes, I'm leaving single space because the output should be aligned properly. So roll is a variable where the data is stored. I'm going to copy and paste it again, where I'm going to change into name. So here I'm going to give us name because that is a variable name. Okay. So now we have written that select query properly. You can check it whether it is working or not. So simply leave space somewhere else because it is nothing but a compiler issue, and you can run it again. I'm going to give a proper roll number which I shown on the table. So U9CS301. You can see here the output is clear. Roll number is there and name is there. Okay. Now suppose if you give some roll number which is not available in the table, what it will return? We can check that too. I'll run it. You can leave some space somewhere and you can run. Okay, I'm deleting one here. You can run it again. So it is saying that no data found. So it is an exception. Like we can add this into exception. So how we can add this is like when no underscore data underscore found. So it is an error generated by PLSQL. I'm going to throw it as an exception here. I'm going to put dbms underscore output dot put underscore line. I'm going to print some statement, print some lines, which I can say like student not found, because we are searching for a student. So I can type it as student not found. It's simple that like we ran a select query by getting some input, and now we are saying that we are not giving the correct roll number and we are throwing that exception. It is clear that student not found. Earlier we had some PLSQL error. Now it is clear that we are getting that exception and we are throwing it student not found. Okay, if there is something like we can throw other error. There will be a number of errors that will be got by PLSQL. We can throw it now. For that, I'm going to use this like you are saying that A is declared with the varchar of 8 characters. So what I'm going to do is when others means other type of error. It will get every errors. I mean all types of error. So I'm going to throw it now. The keyword is others. When others means other error which we didn't get. That is the meaning here. So I'm just going to type like other errors. Okay, we can check it now. So varchar A, you have to get 8 characters. If it is more than 8 characters, simply leave space. It is compiler error. If it is more than 8 characters, it has to throw an exception. So that is the thing. I'm going to type more than 8 characters and I'm going to submit it. You can see that there is another error. So in this way we can capture many type of exception. Thank you.